So I'm given 30x squared minus 5x minus 10. If I try to do the AC process, I get A equals 30, B equals negative 5, C equals negative 10. And the problem is I get to this point where I've got a negative 300 for AC. And so I got to find two terms, and when I multiply them out, I get negative 300, but when I add them up, I get negative 5. That's a lot of checking, right? It'd probably be like somewhere between 50 and 60, I would guess. Or 15 times, I don't know. But I'm not going to guess and check up to 300. But I noticed that all of these terms are divisible by 5. So what I did is I factored out a 5. Well, what goes in the parentheses is the stuff that makes this, right? So 5 times 6x squared gives me my 30x squared. 5 times negative 1x gives me my 5x. 5 times negative 2 gives me my negative 10. So now my A, B, C are a lot smaller and easier to work with. So what we learned from that is it's much easier to factor something out from the very beginning. In this case, we were able to factor out a 5. So now I start the AC method, and it's much easier because A times C is just 6 times negative 2, which is negative 12. And then my B term is just negative 1. So I need to think of two numbers that when I multiply them, I get negative 12. And when I add them up, I get a negative 1. Well, that's negative 4 times 3 equals negative 12. And 3 minus 4 equals negative 1. Or negative 4 plus 3, however you want to look at it. So then what I do is I take this middle term and I replace it with 3x and minus 4x, right? When you add this plus this, doesn't it equal this? Yeah. I can't ignore this 5. I got to remember to keep that in there at the whole time. So then, now you got to be careful. I put the 3 here on purpose because that allows me to factor out a 3. I put the 4 here on purpose because these two numbers are divisible by 2, so I can factor out a 2. So then I said, well, what do I multiply by 3x to get 6x squared? Well, it's 2x. What do I multiply 3x by to get 3x? Just a positive 1. So now when I go to factor something out of both these terms, if this is negative, you're almost always going to factor out a negative. So negative 2, because 2 is the greatest common factor over here, when I factor out the negative 2, I'm left with 2x plus 1. That's no accident. Now, because this is all one line, I can factor out 2x plus 1. So I factor that out. Don't forget the 5, that's still there. But then what am I left with? 3x minus 2. Put that in parentheses. And this is the prime factorization of 30x squared minus 5x minus 10. Okay? I know that's a lot to write down.